We did have the opportunity to briefly drive another CT6 on the all-season tires, which produced a significant reduction in front-end grip and increased understeer compared with the CTS. The pilots go a long way toward making the CT6 feel like its smaller sibling. The steering effort is weighty in sport mode, and while the CT6 lacks the exemplary steering feedback of the CTS, its tuning seems appropriate to the car's size. The CT6 gets a new engine, a turbocharged 3.0-litre V6 that makes 404 horsepower and delivers 400 pound-feet of torque. It has a similar wail to the Turbo 3.6 in the CTS Sport and packs enough punch to do 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5 seconds flat. It's quick enough, yet it might be even quicker. With a pair of turbochargers, a clutch responsible for routing torque to the front wheels, and 8 speeds in its automatic transmission, there are quite a few moving parts in the CT6's drivetrain, and we occasionally found the computers groggy in their synchronization calculations. The throttle response can lag from a standing start and at low speeds, particularly when the car is in T mode. Cadillac admitted that the CT6's transmission calibration is a work in progress. This is a relatively new built 8-speed automatic, the same basic gearbox used in the Chevrolet Corvette, rather than the AN unit that Cadillac uses in the CTS Sport. The CT6's interior reinforces the kinship to the CTS, with a similar design theme using layered materials. It is a bit too busy for our taste. Our test car features not one but 2 different wood grains on its dashboard. 3 different colors of leather cover various surfaces in the car, including a curious swath of perforated material that surrounds the infotainment screen and resembles seat leather. Even as Cadillac's exterior design team seems to have nailed simple elegance, its interior people continue to try too hard. The gauges and the image on the rear view mirror are computer simulations made to look like a mirror reflection and gauges. At least the Q system is improved, less from the addition of the new console-mounted touchpad and a reconfigured button field for the VAC system. The instrumentation in our test car was fully digital, with electronic displays replicating analog gauges and allowing for some music customization as in other Cadillacs. A lesser trim level has real analog gauges. Another screen is built into the rear view mirror. Flip what seems like an old-fashioned lever you'd use to dim the glare of bright lights, and the mirror switches to a wide, high-definition video image of what's behind you, fed by a rear camera. It's a novel trick, and while the Panavision style view is undeniably useful, the proximity of the mirror makes it difficult to adjust your focus. The angle is wide enough that, to process its full resolution, the mirror begs to be moved a few inches farther from your eyes. Cadillac is not eager to advertise it, but the designer responsible for the CT6's headlight clusters is an incurable Alice Cooper fan. The CT6 puts up good enough numbers to put plenty of traffic in that rear camera lens, and from a brand building perspective, this big sedan continues with Cadillac's practice of offering the best handling luxury cars in the business. In fact, the CT6 completes Cadillac's trio of small, medium, and large sedans that now occupy the same space BMW did 15 years ago, delivering a consistent design with smart engineering and excellent dynamics in 3 sizes. We quite obviously liked that approach then, and we're glad to see Cadillac pursuing it now, in the face of all evidence that the crossover-consumed public has little appetite for it. In 2015, Cadillac actually posted better numbers for the old, front-drive XTS than for the CTS, moving 3,600 more of these jumbo mobility scooters than it did of our 10 best winner. If the front driver, still popular as a livery car, weren't selling so well, Cadillac would happily cancel it in favor of the CT6. Yes, our platinum test car's pricing is a bit dear, yet the end of old Cadillac still needs to happen. on Cadillac's long, quite possibly endless march back to relevance among buyers at the sharp end of the market, the CT6 is a confident step forward. From the April 2016 issue, if the CT6 were truly Cadillac's new flagship, it might well fly a banner of surrender. Because by any reasonable accounting, the CT6 is not a direct competitor to the big German luxury barges. But that's okay. Like the first two generations of CTS sedans, the CT6 is something of an in-betweener, bigger than the mid-size class but less replete than the luxury full-sizes. It covers roughly the same dimensions as the short-wheelbase 7 Series that BMW doesn't sell here. But for just $54,490, about what you'd pay for another BMW, a nicely appointed 3 Series, you can get into a base CT6 with a 265 horsepower turbo 2.0-litre, as Cadillac tries to manage the high-wire act of balancing sales volume with prestige. A sharper sword in the form of a twin-turbo V8 has been pledged to the CT6, and hints of an even larger and more majestic Cadillac built off the same new platform continue to circulate. But for now, this is it, a handsome 4-door with a 4, a 6, and a turbocharged 6 that acquits itself well as a sports sedan that just happens to have a bigger backseat and 5 more inches of corresponding legroom than the CTS. It will certainly sit atop GM's luxury throne for now. The Platinum spec car we drove carried a sticker north of $88,000. While the CTS is underpinned by the steel Alpha platform it shares with the ATS and Chevrolet Camaro, the CT6 is the first vehicle to ride on GM's Omega platform, which is about 2/3 aluminium with the last sliver of pie stamped in steel. At 4,371 pounds, our test car weighs just 11 more than the last aluminium-intensive Audi A8L to hit our scales. The aluminium in the CT6 is mostly situated at the ends of the car, including 13 separate castings that Cadillac says make it stiffer than the CTS. The ferrous metal is concentrated in the midsection and in the A and pillars, floor, and bulkheads. Cadillac says this arrangement makes the cabin less resonant, allowing it to use less sound insulation, which reduces overall weight compared with the same body in white built entirely out of aluminium. Our measurements show the Cadillac to be quieter than a BMW 7 Series or Mercedes-Benz S-Class. The new structure also allowed Cadillac's designers to lower the car's long hood. Most modern sedans have waist-thigh fenders and noses, but you can actually lean back and sit on the prow of this one, even when it's shod with 20-inch wheels. Any chassis engineer will tell you that structural stiffness is key to optimal suspension tuning. But maybe Cadillac aimed a little high on the spring and damper rates. The car charges into corners and pulls 0.86 grams on our skid pad. It feels very well planted on mountain switchbacks and high-speed sweepers. Indeed, it drives much like its smaller sibling despite having an extra 7.8 inches of wheelbase. Yet its ride only approaches plush on good roads, and after a few hours of feeling every ripple on the not-so-good ones, we might be willing to trade the CT6's magnet or geological dampers for air springs and the conventional dampers. Cadillacs still look best when they are low and long. The CT6's elegant exterior design is seasoned with just a hint of sporty spice. Our four-wheel drive test car rear drive is available only with a 2.0-litre was equipped with the active chassis package, which includes those high-touch shocks as well as a rear steering system that can pivot the rear wheels up to 3.50 degrees to shorten the turning radius or add 2.75 degrees in phase with the front to help foster that planted feeling at speed. The CT6's four-wheel drive system biases 60% of the torque rearward in standard tow mode, which gets bumped up to 80% when you select sport mode via a button on the center console. There's also a third mode for winter, which splits the power equally. The system does not, however, perform any side-to-side torque vectoring, nor do the brakes assist cornering. Our test car had its standard all-season tyres upgraded to 20-inch 24,540 by LEP0s. Cadillac has not yet priced this optional summer tyre package, but we were assured that it will be available later in the year. We can certainly credit the tyre fitment with producing stellar 152-foot stops from 70 miles per hour. The brakes are impressive in the real world, too, with strong initial bite from the 4-piston Brembo calipers and a firm pedal that is always easy to modulate.